Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with episode 198 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And this is me, Karak with ACG.
I'm in a good mood, Karak. I mean, we got that new episode 9 teaser. Did you have a chance to check that out?
Yes.
How'd you like it?
I don't care about Star Wars right now.
At all?
At all.
What killed
I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer.
No.
So,
You're good. I think people are in the same boat. I want to know what killed the spirit.
Dude, I don't know how to say. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but this is the honest way I feel. Is that at some point in since this last movie, if like you and I were sitting and yakking about these, I would have thought that saying this out loud would never have happened. But I find the prequels better than these.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite, so I'm kind of in the same
Revenge
boat.
Revenge of the Sith. You and I, bro fist, because you and I definitely agree on that. Or at least a good movie.
Yeah.
These are just tonally all over the place is all. And so I'll watch it for sure, and I'm absolutely 100% okay with it being good. I just have sort of taken a step back because as a kid, man, this was my shit, right? My jam. I grew up thinking Yoda was real.
I grew up with the prequels, and I was like, Star Wars is cool. And then I saw the originals. I was like, oh shit! Like these are That's how I was. I was like, these are way better.
Yeah. And so I just man, I it's really hard to see like the characters you like take the turns that they take and stuff like that. So I find that if I don't connect too emotionally to it, then when I do see it, I'm not as affected as I thought I was going to be.
I get you.
Which is sadly what I did not do when I went to Shazam recently. So I have to relearn that skill. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited that it's coming out for sure. I never want to stop something. I'm not going to say somebody else can't be excited.
Right. Yeah, I see, because I was excited when because it was a teaser, but it was longer than most trailers. It was like 2+ minutes
for
long,
sure.
And I was like, this isn't really a teaser in my opinion. It just didn't show a ton in the scheme of things. But at the end, I think what they meant by teaser is at the end, you hear I think it was Luke say, "No one's gone for good" or something like that, and they show a crashed Death Star, and you hear Emperor Palpatine laugh, and you're like, "Oh, they're going there." Some people are like, "Let's go!" Like I'm one of those people who's all happy about it, and then there are folks out there who are like, "Oh my God, they're pandering in the lore and they're freaking out about it." But I'm curious to see the official explanation, because I think that's where most of us will either concede or, like The Last Jedi, get very angry again. We'll see in due time, but I'm excited for that movie. As for other introduction news and stuff happening on the channel in the coming week, I just announced last week, by the time most people are listening to this, that I'll be attending an event for Borderlands 3. I'm going to be playing the game early and doing an interview. So if you want, go to that video on my channel, and you can go ahead and leave comments and thumbs up other comments, get involved, get questions going, because like I said, I'm going to interview some developers. So it's pretty important. And on top of that, I'll be reviewing World War Z, and I'm very excited for that game. I'm usually not a big zombie horde guy, but that game looks so off the walls, and there are a ton of zombies on screen, and it looks good. And the locations and the set pieces, it looks like a very solid game. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But that's plans for my week. I'm also getting a new puppy. So yeah, good week coming up.
Yeah, I saw pictures for that.
Yeah.
When's the puppy coming?
Monday. So.
And why do we know so long for this puppy? I was a little confused on that. Why is it taking? It seems like you've known for a long time or something.
I have known for a long time because he got out of the litter. I think because he's only 2 months old right now. So that's, I think, or there's a certain point where like a puppy is officially allowed
6 to 8.
Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
And when actually yesterday was the day that date would lift.
Oh,
and
I see. Okay.
Because as I share with you in social media, I was like, I have a funeral tomorrow. Sunday we're busy. It's like Monday was the only day we could pick him up after that date had lifted, because we didn't want to leave him alone immediately upon picking him up, because he's so young. He'll just tear up the house. It'd be really sad. So yeah, we are picking him up Monday, and that's why. And plus, we had to like research the breeder and all that stuff. So it took a little bit of extra time. But what about you, man? What are you up to this week? Any big plans?
well, now I want a dog, but I've already got 4. That's the problem with me is I show up at dude, and I show that like the best dogs I've ever had are the ones that are day and date where I just walk in. And like my family, they're just like, I don't know how Karak does it, but I'll point at a dog and be like, boom, that's the one. Yep. And then we'll buy, and they turn out to be awesome. So I want a dog now really bad. I think 4 versus 5, it's no big deal.
Yeah,
it's not a huge.
What's one more guy shitting and pissing all over your house? You know?
I will say this, Matty. What the difference between 1 and 2? Nothing. But then 2 to 4, that's huge. Insane, man. Yeah, it's insane how much. I mean, they're just like. Yeah, they're dumb babies that will never get smarter. Like they will, right? They're at a certain IQ and they can't help themselves, and they're at a certain age, and you're just like, shit. They're not gonna learn English at some point and be able to speak to me. I am not going to the Borderlands thing. I did get invited to that. I sort of stepped out of that. I am
Any
gonna
particular reason, or is it personal?
No, it's just because I don't like to be paid. They wanted to pay. Out. And I didn't have the money to.
Here's money for
pay for flight.
Okay.
For flight,
gotcha.
And that's always just been the thing for me. That's why I've gone to so few, which has hurt the channel, obviously. But so, and I have no issue with other people going. That's I'm not going to do that. I'll do something later, maybe. But additionally, there are some games people can guess, but there are some games I'm reviewing right now, including World War Z, and. Cool. That I looked at time frames for stuff, and there's a lot fucking coming. Like, even if you go,
busy.
Dude, and if you go for even like whatever it would be, 3 days, let's say, for this trip,
it is 3 days.
Yeah, it's quite easy to miss a full game. Like there's and it may not be huge, but there's so many games that I was just like, fuck, man.
Right.
So most of mine is doing that, and then we launched a new podcast, which is every Saturday. Yeah, I'm stoked. No one else will fucking probably care. But it's called Side by Side, and what we do is, you know how you and I stream like E3?
Right.
But this is during all the UFCs. So anybody who watches the UFC will just be sitting talking about games and how they reflect the UFC, and then talking about the fighters, because that's what I follow. And it's just a bunch of fans in the Discord who are UFC fans. We've been sitting there. There's like 10 of us in chat all the time. And one day I was like, you know what? Why don't we just stream it? Yeah, I was just like, let's just stream it and see if, even if we get 5 watchers, it'll be 15 people watching it, and it'll be fun. So that I'm excited for, because I just love I love watching movies or shows with people in the Discord. It's become like a huge thing. And then more Division, we were just talking about it in your Discord like 1 minute before you called. They dropped the raid, or I think it was the raid, but they dropped some content and stuff.
Oh, really? They did more?
Yeah, and I love, dude, I really like Division too.
It's good. I really beat it last night. And
oh, did you?
Yeah, like just finished it. I will say this, great game. Final Stronghold, don't want to spoil it for anyone, was not good. That was definitely
you mean
it was really weird
and really hard.
No. I even that, it really wasn't that difficult. I was surprised because every location packed a punch, had a wow moment, and the last one felt like the start of it, you're like, okay, this is pretty epic, but it felt like it dropped off fast. Very lackluster Stronghold. Otherwise, though, once I beat it, I didn't have that like, oh yeah, like I gotta go into this end game content, because pretty much, for those who don't know, what happens is it just repopulates the map with enemies, and all the control points and missions are changed now, and you do these things called like world tier, and you pretty much get your gear score up.
New clan, or new. What are they called, clans in that game? Bad guys? The
invasions or something like that. Yeah, and
Black Tusk.
Yes, that's the name, and it's great for folks who like I think Colin had said this when he was on the show, and I agree that it's great for people who, you know, you buy like 1 to 4 games a year, that pretty much right when you beat the game, they hit kind of the reset button, they repopulate the map.
Yeah.
But for me, when I saw it, I was just very not about it. That's just the best way to put it. I was not.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think it was great up until that point, and then if people want to play, that's great.
Exactly, and that's why I didn't like take away from my opinion. I was like, this just isn't for me. This part, like, the game itself is great. I love the locations, and at some point maybe I want to return, but right now I think the only thing that affected me was the final stronghold, because then I saw they added a new one called Title Base, and I was like, oh, cool. And I saw you had to get a gear score, and I was like, okay, so I got to grind missions I've already played, and it just kind of that's where it escalated. Where I was like, ugh, I just had like a lackluster stronghold. What if this one isn't that good? And that's kinda, yeah, it piled on. But anyway, easily our longest intro to date. Now we can move into our first news topic.
Flick a buck
of the show. Holy shit! Yeah,
flick a buck. You got to give us money, or we'll starve to death. Look at me.
God.
Oh my god! I'm losing weight as we speak. I need cash.
Oh my god! The intro is not over yet. Thank you, Karak, for reminding me. I do not have the audio up right now. I actually had to cut it out because some people were like, "It's way too loud," because of the way it comes across on my computer.
Mixed in, yeah.
Well, because I have a certain volume so that it captures you at a normal level. But that normal level for the jingle is incredibly loud. Right. And I don't notice that. And so when it plays, I'm like, all right, whatever. And then people are like, holy shit, it's loud. So what I have to do is separately put it in. So if you'd like to, you can go ahead and flick a buck. If you do so, you can support the show. You get early access to the podcast. You get exclusive podcasts on my Patreon, exclusive content such or other exclusive. Imagine if I could do a pitch without stuttering. Other exclusive content like videos, the Discord, which is an awesome place to be, and so on. I really love the Patreon community we build. We see a lot of new faces every month, which is something that I never expected. It's one of the few projects I've taken on that actually, you know, with the YouTube channel, like it can be hit or miss each month to month. Like sometimes you'll grow a lot, and sometimes you just stagnant, right? Like you just, you know, your normal viewer base is there, and that's it, and that's fine. But with Patreon, I'm always seeing new faces join up, and I'm seeing new reasons for people joining and also leaving, which helps us grow and adapt and change in the right way. So it's something I'm really proud of, and if you'd like to support that, the link to that's in the description down below. Karak, is there anything you'd like to pitch for your Patreon before we do actually move into the show?
No, same exact stuff as yours. We're good. I just need money for my Pop-Tart addiction.
All right, perfect. So now we can get into our first news bit with Troy Baker not returning in Borderlands 3. So for those who don't know, Troy Baker had voiced Rhys from Tales from the Borderlands, and now he has commented during a fan convention, actually, and he's confirmed that he's not going to be voicing Rhys. So here's his actual the actual quote from this convention. I don't agree with Gearbox on how they're handling it. I really want Gearbox to know that if they're going to bring back characters from Tales from the Borderlands, it should be the people who originated the characters. They shouldn't just recast willy-nilly, because as a fan, that matters to me. So, Karak, first question, I guess, is, as a fan, does a recasting of a character that was pretty important to A's title and is going to likely be important to some extent in Borderlands 3, does a recasting hurt the game and hurt you and your enjoyment?
There's a higher chance of it than if they brought the same guy back. So I would say it doesn't hurt it instantly, but I don't like the idea of it.
Right.
No, not at all.
I'm with you. A game I noticed that with was Kingdom Hearts 3. And in the situation that they were in, it made sense because Leonard Nimoy... Is it Leonard Nimoy? Is that his name?
That's Spock.
No, yeah, okay. It's
Leonard Nimoy is Spock.
Leonard, yeah, it's Leonard... I can't think of the name right now, but once I say the character, you might know. He voices Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts. He had actually passed away, unfortunately.
Oh.
And so they had to recast him. And what I'm getting at is less of the unfortunate circumstances, but more so the recast that filled those shoes. That's the most recent example I've experienced of like, oh, wow, this just isn't the same. And it was almost distracting. And that type of stuff, I feel... I don't want to say damages the experience. Like I'm not going to recommend the game now, but it hurts it in a way that breaks you away from it, because I think performance is such a key aspect of the game. It's why voice actors, I think last year, like went on strike and stuff, and there was a whole huge issue with that in video games. Where,
Life is Strange switched out. Remember, Life is Strange switched out their characters because of the strike. They only got them back later. I think it was the middle games, that middle before the storm thing. I think they switched at least one, if not two, of the characters.
Really?
Because of the strike, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that affected a lot of people.
Exactly. And so I think that performance is such an underrated aspect in a sense for a lot of gamers. They kind of just assume and expect it to be there. And what's weird is if you're not going to hire a talent like Troy Baker, I'd imagine cost is probably a big factor. Really popular voice, really talented voice. Why would Gearbox decide to cut a corner on a character like that with such a great voice unless A, he plays a big role and they need to pay for a lot of lines, or B, it could be the complete opposite. He doesn't play a big role. Why pay extra money for someone who, is going to do a tiny role?
It was also interesting to see Randy say, so understanding that Randy's the voice, but he doesn't touch everything. One of the things a person in Randy's position would not touch is voice acting for the most part. And he said that Troy's wrong, and that he was told by his voice actor director, that's the person who's going to be standing there with the voice actors, that Troy refused it. So you've got this back and forth now. So Randy said that this morning. So the long story short of it also is the fact that it probably, I mean, money is a big deal, and the strike obviously did, probably raise their, because they're not on strike anymore,
right?
Which meant they probably got a deal, right? They probably got more money. So I don't necessarily, I want to make sure that blame, if blame or hatred is aimed, it's probably not aimed at the person that everybody atypically dislikes in this particular situation, which is Randy, which I have my own issues with.
I have the tweet up right now, actually.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
A fan had asked, why didn't Troy Baker get to return as Rhys? Randy said, you'll have to ask Troy. I was told by the audio director that he turned it down. Fortunately, with how Rhys appears in the game, I don't think it actually matters at all. You'll see for yourself when the game comes out, and you may disagree with me on that or not. So I think that indicates
both. That indicates what you said. That indicates he may not be in there a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe Troy just said, hey, listen, I want this amount, even though I'm not going to be in there a lot. And then the audio director was like, we're not going to change anything. And they just decided against it. So, yeah, it sucks. I don't think it damages it for me. I'm the same boat as you. Where, like, I like them when they're the same.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to change the entire world just to get them there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want money to go away.
Unhear things, right? Like,
yeah.
A voice.
Dude, and
imagine if I came in the podcast and I had the voice of, like, fucking Skill Up or something. Like, wouldn't you shit your pants? Yeah, or something like that.
Well, another thing is, look at the huge change. I think the biggest voice change in the generation so far has been Destiny, when Peter Dinklage had a bad voice director, because he's a good actor. Prior to, I've followed him since way before Game of Thrones, but he was not directed well, and so his voice acting was done poorly. And then Nolan North comes in, and that's an improvement, right? I think the big worry here is that no one thought an improvement was needed. That's the reason we're. It was Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, it was Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, because he did pass away of COPD, unfortunately.
Yes.
So I mean, there was no negativity around Troy's, but that might be it. Yeah, you look at it and you're like, listen, you're not going to be in there very much, and maybe there's a timing thing too, because you do have to figure out your schedules, and maybe they're just like, listen, we're going to be recording in this month. And Troy's like, I'm already doing 5 games, because let's be honest, he probably is.
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. The one thing I dislike, dude, you and I have never had this, so it's going to be difficult to give a good example. But if we had some falling out or something, it would be between us. And if I was working at a company, and I have worked at companies where there's been falling out with employees, or where I was laid off, I never went vocal with it. It's just like they chose to go another. The professional way of handling things is to say they went another way. I hope fans like it. If you're a fan of the game, then you should be saying, no, I'm not in it. Unfortunately, would have loved to have been in it, but I hope fans like it. But instead, especially with Troy lately, just reading his Twitter and some of the stuff he does sometimes he comes off really fucking, I don't know. What's the term?
I haven't seen it, so I can't help you out as much.
When you come off like entitled, when you come off entitled. And that kind of stuff bothers me, because like then you see Nolan North, who doesn't at all.
Right.
And it's just like, it's just a game. It sucks, But I don't know. I'm just airing the dirty laundry really bothers me, unless it's really dirty.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like if you guys, if it was really dirty, like I was working with somebody and they stole the money from a YouTube channel, you can bet I'd be doing a video.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was just like we can't get a business arrangement worked out, I probably would have. I'm just saying I would have handled it differently.
Yeah,
on both sides, probably.
I agree, and because what happens is his response to Gearbox provokes a response in return. And what they say completely contradicts what he says, and now it becomes bigger than it had to be.
Yeah, and what if Matty? What if Borderlands 4 comes out and he has available time? Then there's less of a chance of them saying they want him back because they know that problem exists. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say it was.
Always remembers. So that's the thing.
If they do, dude.
Yeah.
For sure. If anybody doesn't if anybody doesn't believe that, go read up on Obsidian Protocol and the voice actor there who did the main character for that for Obsidian, strangely enough, or Alpha Protocol.
Gotcha.
He had a horrible time, and the repercussions of his interviews afterwards, I would say, still resonate with like a lot of audio directors. Like they still remember it.
Well, it's an attitude thing, right? They know what kind of person they're getting. Their talent on mic might be great, but if they don't, it's like I treat it like sports. Like you bring in a guy who might not be the best player, but if he's got a good attitude, he's a good locker room player. Like you want him on your team, maybe to help the younger kids or something.
Elevate the team too. Yeah. And that's what it is. Is a team. It's different than like if it was, I don't know, boxing or something, where it's just one person.
Yeah,
sucks because like you said, good point. It just becomes bigger than it ever fucking needed to be.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's already big that there's a change, and then you blow it into like a change with a back and forth.
I do wonder if the only thing I could imagine that could have happened if Gearbox is saying we did offer him the job, and and Troy's saying no, they didn't, is perhaps the way Gearbox had offered it. Maybe they said, hey, we're working on a game, want to do it. That's it. Not like, hey, it's Borderlands, hey, it's Rhys.
Not as definitive as needed. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Troy was like, no, I'm all right, man. And that was it.
Yep. Or we're doing something in January, right? I'm just throwing a month out there, but they can't say what, you know. And then he's like, looks at January and goes, I can't do it. And hopefully Troy reads that, and if it is true, they, you know, somebody will pop up and be like, okay, I get it, I apologize, you know. Because I'm just the negativity shit. I think it totally exists for a reason. There's definitely a reason to have it, but it's just about everything now, man. It's like everything is just there's a battle like 90210 little girls fighting all the time, and it gets really annoying at times.
Yeah, there's like really some weeks you can tolerate it better than others, right? Like this is one of my like and probably because of like real life stuff. This is probably just one of my anti bullshit weeks. Like anything.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like it's why I'm not on social media. I'm like I don't have the patience to be humble this week.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree.
All right. Well, that's what's going on with Borderlands 3 lately. And now we'll shift over to a new topic this time around. It's going to be Don't Nod and Focus Home Interactive.
Fucking A, baby.
Yeah, we got some good shit here. So, pretty much what these two companies are known for in the terms of their partnership is they worked to make a game that Karak and I rave about consistently, which is Vampyr. So they announced that they're doing another partnership to make a new game together once more. And at the same time as this, they also praised Vampyr for being a surprising success and mentioned it had climbed over the 1 million sales mark. Now, the reason the 1 million sales mark is very important is because for some folks, they're like, 1 million sales. But Vampyr had said, or the developers rather of Vampyr had said 500,000 sales. The game is it breaks even.
Starts to profit, yeah.
That's when it starts to profit. Beyond that, 1 million and plus, we make a sequel. So it crossed 1 million. It's still yet to come to Switch, so it's only going to grow. And then they announced this new partnership. So I would say Vampyr 2 absolutely confirmed, in my humble opinion. But what do you take away from this, and are you excited?
Well, yeah, you can tell I'm excited.
That's what I say. Dumb question.
But you know, is it Vampyr 2, or is it like, you know, right now they want to do like sort of how FromSoft has done Dark Souls, then they did Bloodborne, then they did Sekiro? Are they going to go back to like Bloodborne now? You know, are they going to create a series of titles they can bounce back to? I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I will say this: I think Vampyr even the people I know who disliked Vampyr liked many elements of Vampyr.
Yeah.
Right? Like the combat, maybe somebody didn't like,
Mm-hmm.
but they liked this. Somebody didn't like the some other element, the stats, but they liked the combat. Whatever. This is probably a perfect time for them to sit back and go, we can deliver something that is still a good budget price title. So if they said they were going to break even at 500,000, you assume that's what it cost.
Mm-hmm.
750,000, which is another 250. Dude, another 250,000 is like, 3 or 4 programmers for a good amount of time fixing, adding animations, and then, you're creating a new world.
Mm-hmm.
Or you go 1 million and you make something even better. It hasn't come on Switch. It's gone on sale a couple times.
Man,
it's on Game Pass.
Machine, man.
It's fucking on Game Pass, dude.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass. Like
it's
that
still
game.
1 million sales. That's awesome.
I bet you by the end of this year it will hit 2 million. I bet
2
you.
2 million. Wow.
Yes,
I
I actually believe it.
But 2 million, I'd all for it.
Here's why I think 2 million. Game Pass, Microsoft just released some numbers that they don't even make sense in the human world. They're like Capcom's numbers. But basically, it's where Sea of Thieves is exactly half and half. Half Game Pass, half owners. So they're and so that means like 2.5 million, 2.5 million.
What?
It's staggering numbers. I think Game Pass causes people to buy things, and Phil Spencer said for reasons unknown that truly is what occurs. Switch, if this game looks good, Matty, like for example, Dragon's Dogma appears to look good. If you look at the first 10 minutes today on IGN, that does not look like a janky ass fucking port.
Yeah.
If they can nail,
looks good.
It looks good for the Switch, like better than Assassin's Creed, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just feel that this is a perfect time because the Switch, all of a sudden you have people looking at the Switch going, wait, it's got what? And I just feel that it's got what is the exact thing you want to be happening right when Vampyr comes out.
Right, and what happens on the Switch is quite often. Wait, say it again. Hold on, are you cutting out?
No.
No,
sorry. Yeah, internet fucked up a little bit.
No,
I was just gonna say. I just for some reason feel like we're gonna see a strange resurgence on this title in particular for some reason.
Yeah, and I think part of that will be because of the Switch, because games that really succeed more than anything on this console, obviously Nintendo exclusives, but it's those middle budget games and it's those indie titles. People love that shit. And I mean, man, I feel like if I've never played Vampyr before, I don't know, because it's one of those games I feel like I get my hands on the Switch and try to play it in a pick up and play format to see if it really works that way. Because I never reviewed, or when I played it for my review and I put 45 hours into it, it never felt like a game I could pick up for 2 hours. But we'll see how it forms to that audience. But I think a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, just that perspective the Switch brings of, for a Switch game, this
exactly.
Because here's the thing, I always rave about this game. I'd argue it's one of my favorite games in the last 5 years, just because I love its premise. I love the ideas it brings. It's not absolutely the best game in the last 5 years, but it's one of my favorites because it does so much cool stuff. But whenever I do bring that up, I do have a lot of people who say I agree, and there are, like you mentioned, people who say I don't agree, I don't like it, but most of them can take positive elements away from it. And so I feel like when those elements are brought to what people view as, while it's a great system, a weaker system.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like maybe there's that forgiveness factor that we sort of talk about when we review games, and maybe forgiveness is too generous of a word, but how much do you look past given the game's strengths? And now when you're playing that on a weaker console, if the game still runs smooth, which I know initially at launch, some people had really bad issues of performance. I actually saw a review by Luke Stevens, who does great critiques, and he had made one on Vampyr just recently, and he's had bugs and problems with the game. So, if that's something that they can clear
Who was
up,
that? I missed that. Who was that?
Luke Stevens. We've had him on before. He used to go by, I think, Lukey Poo, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he changed his channel name to his name. But yeah, he made a critique video on Vampyr, highlighted that there were still bugs, and that was just recently. But yeah, I'd imagine if they get the Switch port right, because I think the combat's satisfying enough. I think that the story, dialogue, writing, and character development is fantastic. And I don't know. I really like what Don't Nod does, because even their duds, like a Remember Me, is still such a fucking cool idea that I enjoy the game. They are very imaginative folks at Don't Nod, and I respect them for trying unpopular ideas. And I think with Vampyr, they were finally rewarded with a successful game, one that
I also think,
and Life is Strange as well.
I also think that world, dude, like the RPG Lite, I guess, is that what we call it? We'd probably go with RPG Lite. It feels like the Switch is a perfect example of a game where it's like there's some action, but there's also moments where you're looking and deciding what you want to do. Then there's the overview of like, what burrow do I want to make sure I save, and the action is there, but it's not that constant Sekiro where there's a bad guy everywhere, or Dark Souls, bad guy everywhere. It's more like there's pockets, there's some sneaking involved. And then there's all these other people who played it and heard about it, and I just feel that there's this weird, like, groundswell of information. So the Switch purchaser looks it up, and there's thousands of people talking about it, and you're just like, okay, wait. It's like Dragon's Dogma, where you look it up and it's just there's so many people who've talked about it that you're like, okay, I should check this out. The question I have for you is, what's the price?
That is actually what I was just looking up.
Is that what you're like? Yeah, because it just dawned on me this entire. Yeah. I didn't know if that's what you're looking at, but that is the crux of the conversation.
All right, so it is coming out June 5th. Here, I'll go on GameStop right now because it didn't come up immediately. I'm gonna guess $60. But,
I'll guess $49. You really think, man?
Because didn't they sell it for $60 on?
They did, but and Switch has got a tax, don't they? I'll stick with 40.
So right now, for the PS4 brand new, it is $40, as well as the Xbox One
and Game Pass.
Yes, so I don't know how much they're looking at their margins, if they can get away with pricing the game, because right now on GameStop it is not. They don't even have a listing for the Switch, unless I'm missing it somewhere. But yeah, right now I'll type in Switch price. We'll see if it comes up there. It says Vampyr coming to the Switch, and this was October 2018. Yeah, no price is listed quite yet. October 26th, NintendoSoup.com says no release date and pricing announced yet. We'll click this one, what we know so far. Always great content there. Here we go. Hold on.
And I just emailed the actual contact I have over in Europe.
Oh, okay.
I actually asked them
I hope
too,
we get an answer.
they're usually up at this time, so I'm just going to keep this open. So if they happen to respond while we're here, I'll definitely bring it up, because, dude, here's the thing: $40, free on Game Pass. I personally believe $49 would be easier to handle than the full price, and I think $39 it's probably unheard of, but. It's Don't Nod in its Focus, and I don't know what Focus does with pricing, but they don't seem to be normal. So that's why I'm guessing cheaper.
I think they understand their products very well, like Call of Cthulhu, and that's also coming to the Switch. That's also.
But we don't shoot, because I was hoping it was already out so we could see what. Do we have a Focus game that was on Switch already, and we could look at its release date
I
price?
apologize. I was incorrect on the release date. That was the 2018 release date. I thought I saw 2019. So we don't have a release date either. We just know it's coming in the summer. Let's see here. Focus Home Interactive.
So you've got Surge, and you've got or they might have been Deep Silver.
I'm on their site, and they don't even have a Switch category. They have every console between the PS3, 360, PC, iPhone, Vita, even the DS.
These might be their first Switch games then. I just feel like they know I just feel like they know what they're doing more than Capcom or Activision, and that they know what they're off. I mean, dude, let's be honest. If you heard another company say that they would break even at 500,000, I don't know if you'd believe them. Right? That's not a lot of sales.
Right.
I mean, right now.
It's realistic, I feel.
Yeah, and with the voice acting, because remember, voice acting costs a boatload of money. They have a ton in there. Jonathan, or I can't remember his name. I thought that was his name. The main character's voiced the entire way. All these characters are voiced. There's a ton of money going into that. Yeah, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers for a cheaper price than the. I don't want it to go up against the current consoles at much more than 10 above it, if it has to. I think that would be an issue.
I've been Googling games while you were talking, and yeah, I'm not finding any. I looked up like Styx, Shards of Darkness. I looked up,
and that's not on Switch.
Insurgency. I looked up Blood Bowl. Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition, definitely not.
And Blood Bowl's not on Switch?
I have not. I just tried to quickly scan over really popular games of theirs that maybe, or games that would fit. Like, how about Contrast? That's like a perfect fit for the Switch. Nope. Like, yeah, I don't think they've. And this would be perfect for the comments to let us know. For my quick Googling, I have not seen a single popular focus home game on the Switch
yet. So Vampyr may be it.
Yeah. Vampyr and Call of Cthulhu might be the first two.
Call of Cthulhu I can live without, but Vampyr, that's awesome, because I'm going to tell you, I think that they've got a stable of games. Blood Bowl in particular, which I like. Styx are really underrated.
I remember watching the reviews for them.
Yeah, dude, I really dig those games for what they are, right? You just got to be intelligent.
Well, that's what happens, I think, with these focus home games is you're not getting your AAA millions of dollar development product, and with that, like we've mentioned, comes concessions, and there's usually a charm to it or something really cool about the game, not even a gimmick, but like a catch that
and punching above their own weight a little bit, even knowing that, going, okay, we know. For example, I think Vampyr punched a bit above its weight, where we knew all that, but it was a little bit better than other B games. Certainly than Elix or something. Yeah. Even though I liked Elix, it was goofy as fuck. But the Elix certainly felt B level.
Right.
Vampyr, dude, at times, see, I didn't run into as many bugs. I did have some. But if you and I were playing Vampyr and I walked in and saw you playing it, I would not have, for much of the time you were playing that game, I would not question if that had been a AAA title. Yeah, I really would not have.
I think once you enter the conversation screen is when it starts to show its budget a little bit.
Basic,
Yeah, it's just like a rotating camera, and that always depends on how much do you care about
presentation.
I guess, presentation, and how invested are you in dialogue and good writing. That's not to say if you didn't like the presentation, but you do appreciate writing and it still didn't click with you, that you're wrong. But I just feel like my love for good writing and interesting characters sort of overlapped, or rather overrode, my care for the camera's not switching angles when these people are talking, and the facial animations aren't the best. But yeah, it looks like Vampyr's getting some more action.
Awesome.
I imagine within a year and a
half
or so we'll hear. And now we move over to the Bethesda side of things. So they released an update for Elder Scrolls Blades, which removed the silver chest paywall. And I want to emphasize that because I did make a video on, it's Friday as we record this, but for those listening on Sunday, I made this video on Friday talking about the response to the backlash, how I thought they did a great job instantly, jumping on what was a problem with the game. And I really liked the feedback for this video because it was different. There was people who were like, great job, Bethesda, like this is at least a first step. There were people who were saying they probably intentionally skyrocketed everything and made it so awful so that it painted the product in a good light because they fixed it within 2 weeks, which I get that perspective. I don't know. I guess maybe my brain's not wired that way. I feel like it almost defeats the purpose because nowadays people are so quick to abandon shit that getting a slow start for a free-to-play mobile title in a saturated market and taking 2 weeks to fix a issue that literally locks you off from playing the game, I think harms it more than anything. But that's just my perspective. But like I said, I get why people said that. And then also, before I get into the official information about this post, I was informed that alongside this patch, they had removed legendary item looting from the game. from the Abyss, rather, I should say, which is a kind of procedurally generated mode where you keep going down level to level to level and you're getting tons of loot. They removed legendary items from that, and then they also added Elder Chests to the daily job system, but someone had data mined the probability of earning a Elder Chest, and it's once in every 20 days. So a very long time for that. They took silver chests out of the Abyss, so you can't farm those, but you can still get them from the jobs. But they did, the big focus here is that they neutered the timer for it. Originally, you could only open a silver chest every 3 hours, and it was just a really stupid system, and it still kind of is, but it was a step in the right direction that you could tell this is more of a premium mobile title just by looking at it. The models, the graphics, the particle effects, it is a beautiful game. And I think because of that, Bethesda's more apt to try to get the money flow going. But, and that's not an excuse for them. But at the end of the day, they did remove what I consider was a paywall for the silver chest and made it a much more digestible experience where you can start unboxing one of those silver chests. And then while you're doing that, you can go do daily missions, get your limestone, get your lumber, start building places, selling your gear, and opening other chests, like, for example, the wooden chest, which is a 5-second timer, so it's literally nothing. I don't even know why the timer's even there. It's kind of stupid. But you can all do that in the meantime, and by the time you're done with that, your chest is open, and you kind of repeat that process. And what it's effectively done is, guess what? You get to play the game now. But still, the update is more so that the removal of those legendary looting, the ability to loot legendary items, and on top of that, also the timer or the ratio, we'll say, for the Elder Chests, which are one of the most expensive items you can buy. So I feel like as a free-to-play title, I understand the very low chance of you acquiring one. But I want to hear your thoughts as someone who, I don't think you've played Elder Scrolls Blades, and I don't think you're very interested in it. So what's your, as someone who's not involved in this whole situation, what's your takeaway here?
I hate everything you described.
Okay.
Dude, you described everything that makes me want to, like, kill a mobile title. Like, if I'm playing a cell phone title and a lightning bolt is anywhere on the screen, I know that's energy, right? Like, I know I'm like, okay, fucking building a house, it's going to take 8 energy. You see the lightning bolt, you're like, fuck, I'm buying that. I bet you it's going to be there's no other reason for it to be there. And you're like, you open this, then you can go grab some lumber. Everything you described was the most boring elements of a game I could possibly imagine. What I want to hear about Elder Scrolls is, I spent 45 minutes fighting a dragon. That's really honestly what I want to get from a Skyrim. Like, let's say that's, for example, one of the best mods of Skyrim was Dangerous Dragons. I don't know if you ever tried that one, but it added dragons and then also made them dangerous. Like, you legit had to
avoid them,
like avoid them or really prepare to fight them.
Cool.
So it is a mobile game, obviously. I mean, everything you described sounds mobile.
Yeah, very much.
I will just say, the only thing I can really talk about is the data mining. I think that these companies just aren't figuring it out, Matty, and I don't know, maybe they live in the 1940s, but dude, data mining is the new consumer skill.
Oh,
it
absolutely.
is it is a skill for consumers to identify if something is fair. So first of all, it's sad it exists, has to exist.
Right.
But second, if you're a company and you're doing any of this shit, you got to know you're going to get data mined. And having something that's 1 in 20 days, to me, that just indicates you have a problem with your game. Like, the way it's done. Like, 20 days, like those, that needs to be like every 20 days a special monster shows up. I can deal with that. Like, naturally, this giant monster flies around and shows up every 20 days. That's much easier for me to understand than this random chest will drop only once in 20 days. Yeah. So data mining is such a consumer-based, like, skill now. And Bethesda needs to learn. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Everything about it, even in your Discord, because a couple people in your Discord like it, hearing some of them talk is so, it almost makes me get anxious, because they'll start talking about the time it takes to do something. And I'm going to be honest, if you told me how long, to give you an example of what I consider a good game, If you said, how long did it take for me to empty a burrow of people or something in Vampyr, which we were talking about, I don't know if I could tell you other than a guesstimate. When a game requires those kind of specific timings, and that's what we're talking about, I feel that we've passed beyond the game. Like I don't really
to get you to
yeah. And it's a sign to me that we're tracking the wrong thing. I want to track the cool moments in a fucking game. I want to track the times that you say you pulled off a special fucking move. You're like, dude, Dragon's Dogma jumped off my guy's shield, smashed the guy like maybe 3 or 4 times in the battle. That to me is a game. When you say, I worked for 8 hours and got 3 chests, my brain has a really hard time identifying the game, what game elements would have to come together for that to work for me. So yeah, I will never fucking play this game. It will never be installed on my system. Unless you tell me that it's all been changed, it's all free, and it's just a game. I just don't think I'll ever install it.
No, I know. And a lot of people have been saying I would rather spend $15-20 on this game, buy it, remove the microtransactions, remove the timing system, and just have the game. And I agree with that personally. I would love that. I think the way that Bethesda views this, though, is this is obviously a game they put a lot of money into, okay? I mean, it is a expensive-looking mobile game. Maybe not as much as a AAA title, of course, but not even a maybe.
Would you say it's one of the best, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
Like one of
the best looking?
Yeah. Easily.
Really?
And I've played Strike Force, which I think is graphically appealing, looks great.
Yeah, I like it
Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which is not that great looking, which is fine. I don't let graphics really dictate anything, but it's impressive is what I'm saying. Especially, I think the models. The models for weapons and armor really looks good. Where I think Bethesda would like to probably sell that, but it benefits them more as a business to try to drag as much cash out of you. Because I've heard that someone has already spent over $1,000 on this game.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, so, that's the thing, man. Like, people don't realize there are folks who fucking love these games. And who knows if that's some kid who got daddy's credit card or wherever the fuck, but,
Or a Saudi prince where your and I version of money is $10 and to him it's 1,000.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That type of stuff can happen, and it clearly does. So that's why it's interesting to get that data and take a look at it, because it makes you wonder, Bethesda's perspective, what do they change and what do they keep? If like, all right, someone's paying us $1,000 and this game's not even close to done. All right, it's like, now what? It's like, do we respond to the consumers who are upset, or do we just leave it as is because we got people who are buying it, or do they assume that guy, if he's buying in their worst form, make it a little better, he'll keep buying, and then you might get 3 to 4 more people purchasing products. That's what I was thinking too. It's really interesting to study mobile games. I feel like they're easily the worst form of gaming, in my opinion. I enjoy Elder Scrolls Blades a lot, and I enjoyed Fallout Shelter a lot.
You like Elder Scrolls? You like this?
I do, but I know why I enjoy it, because my biggest issue were these silver chests, which they then removed a big issue with them. But my thing is, I almost enjoy, I'll call it the meta game. I love management in games, and I've said that plenty of times before. I enjoy like building. I enjoy keeping track of resources, and I can name 1,000,001 fucking games that I've played that I like that have those. And I enjoy beating the system more than anything, finding ways around the system.
Finding ways around it.
And that doesn't make Blades a good game, and that's why I tell people, speak with your wallet, or in this case, speak with your I guess your phone memory. Don't download it, or your iPad memory, whatever. Don't download it. But for me, I like showing myself that in games like Marvel Strike Force, didn't spend a dime, or no, I spent $10. I'm sorry. But that was like towards the end of my time. Like I played that game entirely for free, got far as shit, did not get paywalled once. Same thing with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Did not spend a dime, got to level like 60 something, and then I just got bored and stopped playing.
What's the one we both like that I thought was something else, but I really like, that's like superheroes, and then you come together and you fight almost like in a cheap version of Mortal Kombat? Is that Strike Hero? No, it's on the cell phone. Is that Strike?
Well, Injustice 2 is on cell phones, but I think it is Strike Force. Strike Force is like squad versus squad, almost.
No, that's another. Oh, for fuck's sakes, this happened last time. I don't want to bog us down. I do think that some games can be good on mobile if they like take a couple elements and they don't try to make it like a console game, but they're like, okay, there's a couple elements that really work. I know that game really works. I threw my cell phone because it was making vibrations. Damn it! I threw it across the room. But and then the one you're talking about, I know I've played. So I mean, I know they can be good. It's just what you're describing here just fucking sounds way worse.
Yeah, I completely agree. For me, my perspective is, I guess, more. I don't even say it in defense, just so those who are wondering don't think Karak and I are fucking arguing, because I've seen some.
Oh no,
I've seen some shit on the internet this week where like two people like were kind of joking back and forth, and then someone was like, "Why is it getting so heated?" I'm like, fuck, man, like, can't people
are mommy and daddy fighting?
Like, can't people just like talk and not completely agree and have that be okay? But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I totally get why if someone's not about Elder Scrolls Blades, like, it's not a must play, it's not a must download. I think that in its core, the game that's there is better than Fallout Shelter, because I think it's a little more action oriented. I like almost the rhythmic pattern of the gameplay of like hold, release, hold, release, hold, release, and stringing together combos, exploring dungeons, building towns. I like that because it feels like a more action-focused version of Fallout Shelter, where Fallout Shelter was drag this guy outside your base. He's going to go run away for like 5 hours. You shut off your game. You come back. He brings back stuff. And the thing with Blades is maybe it's because, and let me ask you this first, actually. When was the last time if you ever did, play Fallout Shelter?
I did one when it first came out. I played a little bit.
You played? Okay. So Fallout Shelter over time added Nuka-Cola Quantum, questing. It added really bad paywall mechanics in what was a fantastic mobile game. And it still is fun to play, but they walled you off essentially, big time. And I guess for me, when I saw Blades and in its launch form, it was stupid as shit. And I was very clear about that in my review. That what they've done in regressing some of those, I thought was a positive, because they showed that with Shelter, it worked to up the ante, to get aggressive.
Gotcha.
And that they are listening to some extent to consumers. I thought that was important. As someone, I pride myself on fair coverage. I've called Bethesda out plenty of times. We can name all the fucking products that they've done that I've had some shit to say about. But I also think it's fair when they do something that I think is a step in the right direction. Maybe it's not fully right yet. Like the Elder Chest shit that needs to get fixed. Or not fixed, but rather that needs to have a higher probability, for sure. And the legendary looting, people refer to it as shadow nerfing, which is a new term for me. But, that type of stuff happening behind the scenes on top of what is a good patch, like, that's kind of sneaky. And Bethesda should not do that, because, as you can tell, people, like, right as it happened, they caught it. So, overall, though, I commended them for a step in the right direction with the silver chest paywall. And I ended up updating my content accordingly and relabeling the video to saying, instead of removing paywalls because of the new info that came in, which I want to make sure everyone knows about, that I changed it just to silver chest paywall, so people knew, like, okay, it's that aspect of the game. There is still other parts that are of need of work. And some may hide behind the early access excuse, but that's such a diluted term nowadays. Anything else on Elder Scrolls Blades, Karak?
No, I don't. Unless you tell me that it's all whatever, it's all gone.
I'll keep you posted, but I don't think it'll be gone anytime soon. All right. Let's see here. Next one is I mean, we've been going back and forth this show. There's pretty cool bits of news here. This time around, we are talking about Octopath Traveler, another game from 2018 that I've personally raved about. I know, Karak, you have not played it, but the news is that this game is coming to PC now. A former Nintendo Switch exclusive now leaving exclusivity. A lot of people had said that this was going to happen, and now that it's coming to PC, they're likely going to bring it to PS4 and Xbox One as well, because it's such a damn good game. I described it in my Discord a few days ago as it was like fine wine. Like when I beat it, I was like, I'm glad I played that. That was good. And like over time, as I guess let it process, let it digest, I was like, wow, that was a fucking good game. Like, the way the story came together at the end, I've splurged about it before. The art style, the gameplay, really, really superb title, especially when it picks up after the first 10 hours, I'd say, when you're done doing the origin stories. But now that you see it heading to PC, we know there's a prequel that's going to mobile devices that's supposed to be coming to the US within the next year, and presumably based off its success and how they're trying to get Octopath everywhere now, we're likely going to see a sequel. Are you interested in playing the game now that it's not on the Switch?
I will, yes. But I'll have to see like how it works in a seated computer environment, because strangely enough, the Switch seems like it's more conducive, even though I wasn't a big fan of it. But that seems more conducive, just like sitting in bed playing it, than sitting at my computer.
The art style,
like,
yeah.
Because the art style and just, but overall. But yeah, I mean, it also depends on its price. Like,
probably
depending
60.
on the... Yeah, then it won't be that I won't want to play it. It's that I probably won't buy it.
Gotcha.
Like, it won't be a negative towards the game. It'll just be, it's fighting for the same prices as, all these other titles. But yes, there's a much higher chance. I will admit, I just got this, Matty, which is the most amazing thing in the world. It is a.
Oh.
It is. So I originally had the Satisfy, Cowboy.
Wait, hold on. Is that a charger attached to it too?
My friend, yes, it is. So, Cowboy had me get the Satisfy, which I liked a lot. It fixed my problem with my right finger hurting. But the battery on these fucking things is like PS4 bad. Like 3.5 hours later, it's already at like 20%. And this is 10,000 mAh. And it was only $29 on Amazon. So I was like, fuck it, man, I'll buy it. And it comes with its own grips.
Okay.
And dude,
Game
it's
changer.
changed my life.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because you can charge it without putting it in the bay. You can charge it just on the back. It also charges
the system when you charge it and play.
Nope.
I always get nervous about that.
And it charges other things as USB. So like if you have a phone, and you're playing, you could quite literally go, oh shit, because it's a battery bank, almost like a cell phone battery bank.
Oh.
So you can charge other things. It also takes a way faster charge. My dock, you only have a certain amount of mAh it'll take. But with this, I was using 5, so it's charging like an hour.
Wow.
And fuck, man, I played last night for like 9 hours and it was still at like 35%, and I was just
you gotta
like,
link me that. I would love that, because
$29, man.
Yeah, because I've been playing a lot of my Switch lately for Super Dragon Ball Heroes, kind of like my latest just kick. Like, I've been hooked, like easily 30 hours deep now, obsessed with the game, just playing away, and the only thing that stops me when I'm having free time is my Switch battery life. So I would love to get that, because just to fuel my addiction there, man. Plus that looks like, I love the grips, man. That looks
I linked
awesome.
it. I linked it in your thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, the grips help a little bit. They help enough that I don't have a problem with my thumb anymore.
Beautiful.
I'll say that much.
That is beautiful.
Also, strangely enough, they designed it so that the back it's actually not as deep as the grips. It's actually thinner, because I thought it was going to be this big bulky fucking thing. And it is heavier, obviously. It's a battery.
Yes.
But it's got a stand, so you can put the stand out and sit it
I'm looking
down.
at the picture right now.
Yeah, you can take these off, so you don't have to. If you don't want the grips, you can completely take them off and play it just like normal. But dude, yeah, man, I mean, so far at least, I've only had it for a couple days, but I've used it.
It does have a heat dissipation design. Cool.
Yeah, it's solid as fuck. Like, I went there and I was shaking it to go like, okay, is that gonna is the battery gonna fall off? Or yeah, and instead it's got this insanely weird it stays open, but it's like, I don't know if it's tight or something, but you have to like force it down, so there's just no way it's coming out. Like,
nice.
Unless you wanted it to come out. Yeah. So anyway, really sorry, I had to say that.
No, you're good.
What were we talking
about? Actually led to a purchase. You've sold me on a product.
Yeah. We were talking about Octopath. Anyway, so yeah, I would just have to sit down. I would have to verify, what type of game it is, but before I ended up getting it.
Okay. Yeah, I personally would suggest it for those who are listening. If you like JRPGs, easy buy. If you like classic sprite-based RPGs, even an easier buy. Did this thing automatically add to my cart? What's in my cart? Oh, that was a gift that I was going to get my girlfriend before I found a better one. Wow. Okay, anyway. Yeah, but easy buy if you are a JRPG fan. The story, not the highlight, but it comes together in the end in a really cool way, and I found it quite meaningful. I thought they did a really good job with that. It is a game that does not, string you along. There's no DLC, so what you buy is what you get, which I love and hate now that the game is getting a lot more popularity and attention. I would love to see more added-on content for a game, but the reason that the game is so complete in both features and content and story is because they said we didn't want to do DLC. We wanted to just ship a complete product and leave it at that. And let me just make everyone aware, this is like an 80 to 100 hour game. So like you're definitely...
Yeah, it is a huge
like it's
game.
already a big commitment. So DLC really isn't mandatory with a lot of JRPGs in general. And it can become a little extra burden if you know that there's DLC on top of what this big game you've already played is. But yeah, I know some people are always looking for their new JRPGs on Switch. I know there's a hardcore audience for that, and I imagine those who are into that have already played Octopath. But if you were on the fence, maybe you missed the boat, this is your time. It's coming in June on PC, but I cannot suggest it enough, man. It is a great time. It is a great time. On PC, it might feel a little weird, though, because like Karak said, rather, it feels right on the Switch. It feels right there. Not that it wouldn't on the PC, but... just that art style, some of the pick up and play format it has, which just a lot of these Switch games are really mastercrafts in design of being able to embed that without it feeling gimmicky, where it works in long-term play and short-term play, that type of stuff. So yeah, the Switch is the best place to play Octopath. It's what it was developed for, but PC version, good place as any to start. All right, I got to.
And I think there's a higher chance of a humble bundle or something coming too.
Yeah,
where you'll be able to.
Good point.
You'll be able to bounce it at like Steam sale. A more doable, more doable rate for some people.
Good point. Yeah, so Octopath Traveler coming to PC in June, likely consoles down the line, and now here we've got Sekiro sales. So Sekiro has been at the center of a lot of discussion on difficulty. We had a full, extensive, 40-minute segment about difficulty in games and accessibility options in games. So if you want to listen to that, tune into last week's episode. The timestamps are, as always, in the description. But let's talk about Sekiro in a different light. This time we're talking sales numbers. It has been confirmed that this game has passed 2 million sales in 10 days. That is a number I did not expect. I don't know about you. Do you think people know what they're getting into half the time when they buy this shit? Like your average Joe stumbles into Walmart, he's in the game section. Oh man, this looks fucking cool. He picks it up.
Dude, Westerners have such a Japanese kink.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty. It's not like a Dark Age, but I mean, I just mean in every, it's not even, it's like Dark Souls is Dark Age. You could say Bloodborne was like European magic, and you then turn around and you look at this and it's like ninjas or samurais or whatever, shinobi, whatever you want to call them. And I will say I did check into this because the first question that was asked to me when they saw that number was, does it include returns? And I was like, oh, it's a good question. Does that number include returns? And then I verified that because it was 10 days later, it would include returns up to 5-6 days. So that's actually still, I would consider that number completely valid. I mean, I think most people knew what they were getting into. Yeah. I think there's obviously some dude walking into Walmart who was like, ninjas? Because remember, a From Software game, if you flip the From Software game over, it doesn't say this game will make you want to kill yourself, right? There's no warning.
There was was it Dark Souls 1 that or 2, I think, when you flipped over,
but Sekiro,
it said you will die.
Okay, yeah, that is true. It does. It does. It does. But Sekiro at least doesn't. And I could see people just seeing it and buying it, but I think overall Sekiro probably sells. I think Sekiro's name isn't very good on the shelf either. A Walmart person sees Sekiro, that means nothing to them. Japanese style. There's no, Dark Souls means something. If it was called Ninja Bad Guy, it would mean something. Sekiro is just a weird word. So I think most of it's people who knew, yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm not saying some of them didn't return it, but I'm saying people who knew what they were probably getting into.
So Dark Souls 2 says go beyond death. Dark Souls 1 says prepare to die. And Demon Souls, now I'm really curious. What does Demon Souls say? Like, did they, the original one, did they let you know? All right, so they say, oh, that's a different language. Deep beneath the, okay, there's just revolutionary online play, ever-changing world. Deep beneath the I can't read that at all. Deep beneath the Nexus, the old one has awakened. A mighty demon horde pours into Boletaria, devouring the souls of men. I think it says, cast upon by a maiden in black, you go forth to lift the curse. Yeah, so, no, okay, so Demon Souls, the original one, has absolutely no warning that you are getting it, and not that it really needs to, but it's just funny. Because that
just
solidifies
no warning that you're going to die over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah. I would love to time travel and just see someone experience that without knowing the genre,
the
type of game and the scope and overcoming that obstacle. I bet that's probably a lot of people's like favorite game ever because of that. Because it's just our favorite gaming experience rather. Just because like imagine blindly purchasing that and being like, okay, I get the challenge and learning the game as you go. That's got to be so rewarding.
I mean, you also have to look, though, we can sort of see it in a small way because you have a game like Surge, which is somewhat built on that. And I don't think
kind
Surge...
Like niche enough. Where...
Yeah, and Surge, most of them aren't going to want to say Dark Souls, futuristic. So I think they probably don't indicate it. And so what's the other one that guys from Surge made prior? I wasn't a fan of it. Battle... It was prior to Surge. It was their first game. It was
I gotta see the developer.
It was oh man, what the fuck game was that called? I had a lot of problems.
Bound by Flame?
No, it was that you're right. That game was prior. It was after Bound by Flame, prior to
Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen.
Gotcha.
I don't think they warned either, so you could probably at least find somebody who got into some of the side games.
I wasn't getting.
You thought it? Yeah, I had a lot of bugs with that game. That was the big downfall.
I only played 3 hours, but like it wasn't gripping enough to keep me going, and I feel like people are gonna just tell me to get good now because I dropped Sekiro. No, I'm saying I dropped. I dropped Lords of the Fallen, but Lords of the Fallen like legitimately didn't grab me. Sekiro I'm like interested in, but I just when I was playing it,
Lords of the Fallen didn't review very well either.
Yeah, so I got like 7s. I thought 7s and 8s.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I say not very well, that doesn't 7s and 8s aren't horrible
compared to the rest of
compared to
Soulsborne, and it's like all 9s except for I think 2, which sat around the 8, which is still really good. Yeah, but 2 million copies. I find that really awesome because it shows what I think has been a real big focal point actually of the show unintentionally between seeing Vampyr crawl over 1 million. We're seeing Octopath, which was a game that I think they originally expected like a couple 100,000 units to sell. Seeing that do so explosively well, like I think they did 2 million right away. That is now moving to different systems, and now we're seeing Sekiro, which yes, the Soulsborne genre is popular, but you don't know if it's as popular because it's in the YouTube space. It's one of those games that people don't want to try. They watch, kind of like what we saw with Telltale. Like, oh man, it's fun to watch, but I'm not playing that shit. With that type of culture being around, which is fine, and also the issues surrounding the game and boycotts forming. It's cool to see the game still doing well amidst all that because I think it punctuates what I've been saying since people were sharing data about Metro Exodus's Epic Game Store sales, which I'm just like, gaming's bigger than it's ever been. Like people were like, because I remember that was the counter argument to the performance of that game versus how it'll do on the Outer Worlds would have done on the Epic Game Store, and people were like, well, Epic Game Store and Metro Exodus combined for 2.5 times more sales. And I'm like, because gaming is fucking huge now. Of course it's going to do better. It's so much bigger than it was back then. And I feel like when I see games like Sekiro perform well, it's deserved. But it's also, I feel, due in part to new people coming into gaming every day. People wanting to adopt a new challenge. That type of stuff. And it's good to see the success come the developer's way, pretty much.
Yeah. Very much so. That's a big success too, because if they were only expecting 100,000 or 200,000. They sold 2 million. I bet you somebody's having a party.
Oh, I meant that for Octopath. But yeah, if oh my god, if Sekiro expected that much.
No, I mean even. Oh, okay. How many did Sekiro sell? Or I mean, how many did Octopath sell? Do we know how many it sold?
All I remember is like in the first week they were like it passed 2 million.
Oh Jesus, yeah. You know that they got to be like on swimming fucking yachts and shit. Yeah, yeah, that shit. They're probably really happy with that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But good for FromSoft. I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't know if they have DLC planned for this game at all or not, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future.
Yeah.
And one day I'll eventually return to Sekiro and give it another rip. But right now I'm just not in the mood. And so now we move on to our last topic. And there's a reason why, despite it being what I find the most exciting outside of Vampyr, that we waited to the end for this. And I guess you can view it as an optional segment right now. It is the leaked Jedi Fallen Order poster. Because, as you all know, we record on Fridays, upload on Sundays. Fridays for early access. Early access reaches like, I'd say like 70 people. Because different schedules, so that number fluctuates, but we know that only a small amount of our audience is going to hear this portion before the news and information on the game is actually out. So what this will be fun for, if you've already learned everything about the Jedi Fallen Order game, is, and I'll have coverage on this game too, I guarantee, on my channel, just because it's fucking new Star Wars game by Respawn. That's awesome. But we're going to make like predictions, discuss the leak, and we're going to see how on and off the ball we are with this. It'll be fun to listen back, I think listen to if you're a current viewer, but also for us to listen back on. So, what happened was, and this information comes from GameSpot.com, the online retailer Amazon mistakenly put up a listing for a commemorative t-shirt which showed a piece of artwork. It's since been removed, but not before fans secured the image for posterity. It shows a Jedi wielding a blue lightsaber and ascending a mountain accompanied by a small droid that appears to be scanning. In the background, crashed into a landscape full of waterfalls, is what appears to be a Republic-era Star Destroyer. Now, here's what we already knew about Jedi Fallen Order. The story surrounds a Jedi Padawan who escaped the Emperor's Purge, which we did see happen in the Revenge of the Sith film, which, like Karak and I said, best Star Wars film. Yep. The game is said to take place in the dark times as the Emperor consolidates his power over the galaxy and hunts down the remaining Jedi. The image really doesn't show much other than what I had verbally described, where I said there was a crashed Republic-era Star Destroyer. But man, I guess Respawn's on a high right now with Apex Legends. Everyone's like, holy shit, they're making another game. This one has been in development, for those who don't know, since I think either 2013 or 14. You're going to have to check me on that exact time period. But the important part about this is A, it's not using Frostbite. B, it's been in development for a while and they've had time to get it right. C, this happened all before EA acquired Respawn, so before they could get their grubby mitts on it and fuck anything up, which I know some of the EA hatred about how they fuck up games has been dialed back, considering that they gave Anthem 7 years and they were in pre-production for 5 or 6 of those years. Right. So EA has been patient in the past, and I imagine based off what happened with Respawn and Apex Legends, they have probably gone completely hands off with this game. I'd say, they're like, just, hey, print us money. All right, see you later. I'd hope so, at least. I feel like that's the approach I would have if I see a company doing that well. It's like, what do we have to supervise at this point? But anyway, Karak, what do you hope to see from this game based off what I've described? Are you interested or excited in this, unlike the Episode 9 teaser trailer? Let's hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, I'm interested. The honest truth is, I don't know at all what to expect. So I don't know exactly where to put my interest level. Like, I'm a big fan of RPGs, so like if it was like a KOTOR, but based in technology now and shit, that'd be one thing. Versus if it was like a shooter, versus if it's like a third person. So I just don't know exactly what to expect right now. Mm-hmm. I think all the stuff about them getting to it. I think it's
third person. I remember, not to cut you off, I remember reading that.
That's what I assume it'll actually be. I actually feel like it's going to be like Force Unleashed a little bit.
Yeah.
Just that's what it's hitting me mentally as. And that makes sense because to show the like lightsaber and you're a Padawan, so obviously you got a lightsaber. To show force powers, third person seems to be like it just works, right?
I feel like doing a first-person lightsaber game would be kind of
it'd be
bad,
VR. It'd be VR.
Say, and they're already doing that with like a Vader's something game.
So no, I'm very excited for it. It's just I'm excited, like I was excited for Force Unleashed, which is a game I did not dislike. But in the side story, it'll always remind me, if it's great, it'll remind me of how badly everything else has been handled. If it is terrible, it's going to depress me in that way as well. So it's like, terrible. It's weird.
I will sink into a fucking huge depression.
Yeah, into a fugue. It's just really it's odd because it's like, what if it's good? And then you're like, it's fucking good. How did you guys not get the other thing figured out? And then if it's bad, you're like, all right, it's bad. I guess maybe shit's as bad as everybody says, and then that's also depressing. So it's just going to be really interesting to see. I also want to know who the bad guy is. Like, I liked Force Unleashed because the bad guy was also the good guy. Mm-hmm. So, like, I liked that. I don't know how this story is going to play out, you know, protagonist, antagonist wise. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is with this story, pardon me, that the Padawan like you're just playing running. Yeah, I feel like you're constantly going to be getting chased down. I mean, in the poster you see the TIE fighters above, and they look like they're coming in. So, or maybe they're flying away. It's hard to tell, but
no, it looked like they were flying into me.
Okay, so. You know, maybe I think that signifies a bit of, okay, they're being chased down, which is part of the game. I doubt you're going to be going to them. I imagine, just based off the plot and the character you're playing as and the point in the story it's at, like most between 3 and 4 stories, like, for example, Rogue One, the main character will probably, given that they're trying to purge all the Jedis, he's probably going to die. That'd be my guess, at least, right off the bat. So my question then going into the game would be, all right, that's my predicted fate for the story, which I think, you know, as fans, we theorize, we speculate, and it's like, how are they going to meet that? Because my expectations going in are there. How are you going to make me care about the characters surrounding the story if I know, oh, well, every Jedi
the ultimate
fucking
in-game,
been purged? Yeah. Like, what are they going to do to move that forward? And, you know, we've seen them do a great job. For example, with the Titanfall 2 campaign, we know Respawn can deliver a solid story. I guess my concern, which isn't a huge one, is length. You know, because this is a single-player game. This is a strictly single-player game, so it's not like there's this multiplayer side to kind of pad it and add content to it, where you have a Titanfall 2 with a great campaign and a great multiplayer mode. In this case, we know we are getting a strictly single-player game. So, and if it's lightsabers only, are they incorporating stealth at all? Is it just action? Like you said, is there RPG elements, like leveling up, customizing force abilities?
How do you do that if you don't have a master? Like, are you just pretending you're learning force lightning or whatever?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be force lightning, but you know what I mean. Like, how are you learning this shit if there's nobody there to even give you any skills and hints?
And if you are a Padawan, you know, years of training is what makes you better at lightsaber fighting. So if you were to fight someone like punching above your weight, how do you fight back on that as well?
Yeah. That's why I'm actually really confused on this one, because it's like you do not know whatsoever what the plan is, which is good in a way. Mm-hmm. I do feel that like there are ways to make it interesting, like. So if it's right after the purge, you know, could it possibly end where, like, that character's still alive, still running, and fucking the Emperor dies, and they're like, oh, shit, I don't have to run anymore. You know, because we do think, oh, the Emperor, you know, you have to fucking, you have to kill him or her, and you're like, yeah, technically, or the game where it's like it jumps ahead 15 years or something. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's all these weird things that could happen.
Did Battlefront 2, without spoiling it for those who still care, I'll be respectful of that, but when it ended, they did a little bit of a time leap, and then they did Resurrection, which was a huge leap in the DLC for the story, which, you know, God, that was just like the nail in the coffin for me. I was like, oh my God, this is just not good. But, yeah, what was I going to say? About the game, I was going to ask, what do you think that they're going to do for the reveal itself? Because I feel like it's Star Wars Celebration. I imagine they're going to take the normal route they've done with the 2 Battlefront games, which is here's the in-engine trailer, and then the gameplay is going to be at E3.
Well, that's what I thought too, but then Havarka, or whatever the fuck her name is, the girl from Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, Janina Gavankar.
Gavankar, yes. It was either her or somebody else. Oh, no. It was a response to Angry Joe. Angry Joe said, Angry Joe read the title that's on the thing and said, instead of whatever it says, like, don't stand up, it should say, don't fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And the Star Wars Twitter responded and said, we don't think we have, and we're going to show a bunch, and we're going to answer a bunch of hard-hitting questions.
Okay.
About, and they were very confident about what they were like. Well, we don't think we want you to show up. We do not think we have fucked up. We're going to answer. We're going to tell a bunch of information, and we're going to answer a bunch of hard-hitting questions.
Because I covered Battlefront 2 pre-launch, and into a little bit of its post-launch, and that was a game that when it did get revealed at Star Wars Celebration, they did have a panel, and they did give some solid story details. I actually, I have my notes right here. It's definitely, I'll have to sift through them a bit, but I could definitely find them. Yeah.
But if they do that, then that would be cool. Like, that might be what it is just like that. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, because they had right here, Battlefront 2 panel. And I have 2 full pages of notes. 3 studios, DICE, Criterion, EA, Motive. Who are the heroes of the Empire? It is set 30 years from episode... It is set during 30 years from episode 6 to 7. Death Star 2 blew up. What of the Empire and how they felt about it. Commander of the Inferno Squadron is Iden Versio. This is a canon story. All that shit. So, like, yeah, man. Like, they did give, when it came to the
data.
Battlefront 2 story, yeah, they gave the data. They really did. So, I believe that. I would just like for them to take a different approach, especially because if they're announcing it in April... I imagine it's coming out in the fall. I don't think it would hurt the company to show gameplay first instead of the in-engine trailers and whatnot. I don't think it would really hurt them. I think they need to not go so formulaic with it. Hey, the last 2 Star Wars games have not done us good. You know, I shouldn't say that. Battlefront 2 did really well, but was, quote, below expectations. But we know that's just a bullshit statement at this point in time. It sold like 9-10 million copies, and they were like, it performed below our expectations. I'm like, okay, so you wanted like 30 million. But yeah, I feel they should approach it differently based off fan reception. They know there's going to be additional skeptics than usual based off Last Jedi movie. So movies aren't doing well for folks, and then gaming, because Battlefront 2 has burned people twice. Take a different approach, show gameplay first. That's what I do, at least.
I mean, honestly, dude, I would fucking sacrifice small children for that to happen continually. I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy if companies just did that from now on, and we're like, okay, we're gonna start showing shit.
I just thought, because a lot of why I feel they do the in-engine trailer first was because it's Frostbite, so they can go, oh well, the game doesn't look that far from that. But if they're developing it on a completely different engine at Respawn, does an in-engine trailer or a CGI trailer sell the same to EA as maybe?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to bitch about what some of those games look like on Frostbite, because they look great. Like there was that certainly was not the problem. Mm-hmm. Like it's insane at times, in fact. And they had every right and every chance to succeed with those, even in the shape they were and the ideas that they had. There was success written all over those, and they still fucked it up. So yeah, that is true. They could just say it could be a situation where, you know, it's not going to look as good. I think they said Unreal. The one nice thing about Unreal is it certainly isn't a shabby engine. It's actually very good. So there is that. There's also the unfortunate thing that we have to ask, which is because it's Unreal Engine, will it be Epic exclusive?
Mm-hmm.
Because they get 3% back for all licenses, as well as they get a small or a larger percent on the development cost or the price return.
We're seeing more and more developers go to Epic because it's guaranteed money. I tell people this all the time. We may not
it's
like
guaranteed
it,
money,
but it's literally there's no guarantees in this business, and now Epic is offering a guaranteed payment, even if it's temporary. They are guaranteeing money in your pocket, and everyone will jump for that. Everyone.
Dude, if you're a developer, there's I mean, I don't like a lot of the stuff going on, but if there's simply no way to look at a developer and say you shouldn't do that, because it quite legitimately may help them stay in business and support the game they're trying to actually release. Like, it just makes sense. Now for EA, you're looking at a company that can certainly withstand some hardships if they had issues on multiple platforms, and I think they should do multiple. But because Origin,
but so could Take-Two, and they did it with
Epic would suck.
Borderlands and the Outer Worlds. So I feel like they serve as an example of a company that's got more money than God, and they're like, yep, fuck it, we'll throw it on exclusive platforms. So I'm not going to put it past EA to not do it, but they have their own launcher, so wouldn't that?
Didn't Borderlands? I thought though that Private Division is doing. So Private Division is a different division and run different financially than the rest of 2K. Just I
lump them together because it is a subsidiary.
I get it.
2K,
I get it.
And then 2K just did this with Borderlands, where you'd feel like Private Division and 2K had to have gotten together. There's that chain of command, Private Division or 2K, Private Division, Obsidian. And I feel like, based on what I was told, via a source, was like I mentioned in a video, Obsidian had no idea about this deal until it was announced, and they were not.
Which one is this?
This was
the Outer Worlds one.
So in the case of EA, I imagine it won't be an Epic exclusive just because they have their own
blown
launcher.
away.
They have their own launcher. It would not if they do that, then. While I think it's easy to confirm now, that absolutely seals the deal on what we just said about just it's guaranteed success.
Yeah, and Uplay does it.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft has been
Ubisoft did it.
Yeah, remember Ubisoft made it quite clear that they have actually made more money by going to Epic/Ubisoft than Ubisoft Epic Steam. So,
wow, that's wild.
Yeah. There's the cut. I mean, people don't realize. I think when people see a percent, right, they think of it as a number. Like 3 is just a 3. But when it's a percent, and that percent grows, then your 3%, that amount starts at one number. But as you go up, it just gets larger and larger. Like, I just think people think of percents differently than they really are represented when it comes to financials. And that's a big deal. And it sounds small when it's like, you're going to get 3% more. Oh, okay, no problem. 50% more, or 5% more, 10% more. Okay, no problem. People think it means, they think it doesn't mean as much money as it does mean. And then again, we all complain, and I think rightfully so, that companies do lose 30 to 40% of their employees the day they ship the game. There's an idea of looking and going, whoa, this could stop us from losing these employees. Also, I've seen a lot of people go like, oh, no, it's just the publisher who gets it. I got to tell you, I'm talking to devs who definitely have seen the actual money from working with Epic versus Steam. Yeah. And so it's just like that negates, at least for them, that part of the discussion. So I hope they don't. I think overall, there's a good chance that they will. But I hope they personally don't, because I think Origin has its own subscription. Got its own things, seems to make sense. They've got a ton of their own games. I would rather just see Star Wars be, EA access on Xbox is, what they would do there, or whatever that's called on Xbox.
In place compared to Ubisoft, maybe then.
Yeah.
I forgot completely about Ubisoft when I was making that comment, and so I guess the other argument would be, I feel with the access and of course the Origin launcher, maybe there's too many systems in place for them to argue putting it exclusively somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, overall, until this Saturday, like, I just have no clue what to even expect. Like, we're showing up, I think we're going to stream it, but we don't even know what we're streaming.
I'm home in time. I want to stream it as well.
Okay. Well, if you end up and you can't set yours up, tell me, and you can just jump on ours, because I think it's going to be me and Absy, and it might just be 2 or 3 of us from the Discord, but because we don't know, it may be useless. Like the Sony one, we streamed that.
Yeah.
30 fucking minute or 15-minute Sony one.
I was like, oh, this is a great stream. You know, at least an hour. It was done in 20 minutes. I was like, all right, let's do questions,
we were just we filled some time, but then we're just like, well, we got nothing to say. Yeah. So if they do a panel, that'd be great, hearing some questions. I would love to see gameplay. I would also like to see, if it's been this long in work, if we don't see gameplay, I'm going to be worried. Because that indicates a problem. If you can't say something's on one side and then negate the results over here. So if they're saying, hey, this has all been in place for blah 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 amount of time, great, no problem. Show me the results of that on your announced day, which is Star Wars Day. Knock us back a little bit and be like, here's a reason to be excited. To me, I'd be okay with that.
I think with this game, it's different. They need to come out swinging.
They absolutely need to come out swinging, yeah. Because even their investors probably are like, even if, they're making money, their investors are still like, you need to come out swinging. You don't want to have lackluster news like all your life. Like at some point, you want people to be like, wow, we're excited for once.
Yeah. And I think, based off what I've seen of other YouTubers who have sources, I guess that like there's a different energy about this game from like EA and them. So I mean, like I said, this is shit we'll see. And
you mean sort of like Apex Legends energy kind of thing, where like it's a surprise?
I feel Apex Legends energy is more of like we might actually end up printing a lot of dollar bills with this one, and it's going to be a good game. And I hopped on Apex Legends last night. It's still fucking fun as shit. I really
it's a good game. It's a good game,
really
regardless.
Like that game. So it's what's keeping my faith in Respawn too. Not that I really lost it.
But I mean, is that the same energy you're saying that these people are feeling for this game? Or is it more just it's not going to be as bad?
Get it right, kind of energy.
Okay, cool. That's well. Remember, dude, Shadows of the Empire.
I say get it right loosely.
N64 Shadows of the Empire had nothing to do with the normal characters. Well, it did later, but it was a side Star Wars game. Rocked, Unleashed, right? Unleashed 1 and 2, right? We had 2 of those.
Yep.
Both of those I felt were, one
great
was
games.
Really good, one was good, and I just don't see how it can't do one. It's nothing stopping them from doing a good game. So that my fingers are crossed that this is. Yeah, or, I don't know.
It seems once that story broke for Anthem and BioWare, it literally screamed, this is a product of a development studio failing to manage how to make a game well. And we haven't seen anything like that yet out of a DICE piece of work. And of course not Respawn, because they're
they even did the bunch. They even did the I saw somebody talking about Dragon Age. And like
Dragon Age 4 already.
And how it was being made and the worries there. And I was like, I don't think people remember that. Like when I started YouTube, one of the first videos I did was my source, who was working in video games before I started YouTube, was telling me, he was like, check LinkedIn and you can see what Dragon Age 4 is going to, or Dragon Age Inquisition is going to be. It's going to be an MMO. And he was the one who sent me to the 2 hirees,
right,
who were MMO quest hirees. And guess what we got? A MMO that pretended to be a single player game. And so he's still in the he's still in the business. He still tells me stuff at times, and it's just like I think that they thought that was right at the time. They really thought that was like, it wasn't a save money. It was a, we are following a trend that appears to be right. Unfortunately, I think right now, if companies are following trends that appear to be right, we're fucked.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm even if people think we were fucked back then when they added some MMO quests to our single player game, you have no fucking clue unless you take a step back and look at our current situation and go, oh, these guys are going to copy our current situation because these things work. Guess what? You're going to get Blades. Like, those are the kind of games you're going to get. Constantly. And that's what I'm worried about, is that
it won't be free.
And it won't be free. Yeah. And that's what I'm worried about, is that I think some companies can look and buck the trend a little bit, and then other companies look and want to improve the trend, which is fine. But some just solidly want to hit the middle. And for whatever reason, I mean, BioWare, people blame EA, but I think, a majority of the problem apparently is within BioWare itself. And hopefully that does not extend to these guys. And it doesn't seem like it should. They're completely separate. So hopefully this is something that's, turns out to just be an awesome game. And they've got pretty good lineage there for who's working on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't made a game, in my opinion. It's been Titanfall 1, 2, Apex, and that's it.
Yep.
All three of those games I really liked.
Let's say you remove Apex, because I would assume that was a pretty skeletal crew, one map, right? Remembering that Apex Legends was leaked over a year and a half ago on Reddit and no one cared. Complete fucking map, bro.
Like everything.
Some jack off, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a funny way. He's just like, hey, bro, here's your new game. And everybody was like, yeah, so anyway. Yeah. And they just ignored him. It was just like, what the shit? So if you look at the numbers of people they had working on that, and you think all those other people are working on this, then it could be something. It could be something far along. It could be something really interesting, and it will be something based on the expertise of Titanfall 2, which I don't think most people would have an issue with. Well, and I don't mean it'll be the same viewpoint.
Given how it sold.
Well, that's true, but it was a good game.
Right.
And I think those people, even if they know it didn't sell, those people who worked on it know it's a good game.
I was saying, like, people, it'll be new to a lot of folks.
Yes, for sure.
They're like, oh, sweet.
You're very new, because it sold like 6 copies.
Yeah.
It sold worse, by the way, than the exclusive Xbox Titanfall 1.
And that was when the Xbox One was really tiny.
And that's when the Xbox One's was the size of my fucking small town. Like, that was the entire United States grouping of, dude, it's insane. That game never... I don't even know. That is probably one of the best examples of a game that was amazing that failed. And I don't mean it in the way of, like, how sometimes we'll do this. We'll be like, I like this game and it didn't do well. But
reasons you could argue, this
exactly. Yeah. With Titanfall, even though I wasn't as big of a fan as everybody else, there's absolutely nothing you could sit me down and have me go, like, lose that argument and be like, okay, I get you. No, that game. That game was legitimately good, had all of its shit together, not very many technical issues, and fucking guttered. And which is really sad.
Yeah, and especially now, we're talking about how, we have all these games on our list that are selling well. Octopath, I'm going to bring it up again, Sekiro, Vampyr. It's like, how do those find their audiences? But
yeah, exactly. But Titanfall doesn't.
Battlefield launched next to Titanfall 2, that's it. It's just dead in the water.
And then you have to also question if, because that's the excuse we've all used, because that's all that matters, or makes sense. But does it make sense? That's the thing that, I talked a couple times about doing a video on this of, does it make sense to blame the release on a game doing poorly? And what's weird is that Battlefield also was not engaged at the level I think everybody expected. It did not do as well as everybody expected, or rate as well, as everybody expected. Especially, it didn't rate as well to make people ignore Titanfall. Does that make sense? So, let's say Titanfall...
It had cool multiplayer. I liked Battlefield 1, at least multiplayer-wise, but its war stories were terrible.
We're not... And what's weird is, it's not like hot chick, nerdy chick, and you dress her up and you're like, they're both hot. You're just like, no, they're both pretty close to the same fucking level, and somehow one won the prom queen and the other one didn't show up at all. She went somewhere else. Dude, look at the numbers for this. I mean, I'm laughing, and I'm not laughing at them, because it would fucking suck, dude. I don't even know, you've done a good video and it doesn't do well, and you're like, But
or you have big news that you want to share, and it just face plants. You're like,
It face plants, but you never.
For me.
Yeah, or that, right? Where you're like, fuck me. Well, nobody else cares. But you never worked 4 years on it.
Right.
So they work 4 years on it. They improve in every way. They go on multiple fucking consoles, Matty. Multiple, man. They go on the PS4. People, by the way, there were surveys stating that 99% of PS4 players were going to buy that also, just so you know. They were doing surveys on Twitter. are you going to get Titanfall now that it's on, both systems? Of for sure, blah blah blah, and they
Gamers
didn't
let them down.
Well, dude, did we? I mean, maybe we did. I don't know.
I didn't buy it. I'll be honest.
You didn't buy it, yeah. So I don't know. But I
didn't buy it out of sheer I wasn't super interested. I really wasn't. So that's why I didn't pick it up.
Yeah. Well, and also, unlike me, if I remember right, on Call of Duty, you're a little bit less of a fan than I am of I like the wall climbing, I like the parkour stuff, and I know you're more of a boots on the ground,
absolutely,
like more of a World War II.
Yeah.
So maybe that was all it was, and people gravitated towards Battlefield because it was like boots on the ground, but they didn't gravitate for very long. Well, and they never resold it.
It was. I think it was all very situational, because what happened is you had the Battlefield versus Call of Duty feud revived because Call of Duty stuck with its wall running, air flying shit, and Battlefield responded at the perfect time with a game that said go boots on the ground, and that's what people wanted at that point in time, and they got it. And so that's why there was that. I think that was when Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare
Infinite
Warfare was getting dislike bombed. It was like the target of a lot of ire and hatred on the internet. And like I said, I just think it was that battle that
game
honestly
was not bad.
Yeah, I didn't like it that much. I didn't like it that much. I'm not gonna lie.
Fuck off! The game was good.
I just that multiplayer map design, bro. It was so fucking bad. I literally, hold on here, I'll show you what they did to make a multiplayer map. They took this piece of paper, they ripped it out of a book. They said, "This is map, the side of one map. This we'll put here. He'll fly here." And then hold on, there we go. There's another platform. Boom, there's our map. And they just scattered pieces of paper around. And we're like, okay. Now just put a couple of walls to run across all of these, and we'll pick random spawn points, and yep, that'll be our map. That's literally how they did it.
That's how also why Apex probably did well, is because it was one map that's been cultivated and
really well thought out.
Really well thought out. And then you look at so I should admit, I'm talking about the single player. I think the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is easily the best single player of all the games.
Okay.
As a Battlestar Galactica fan, futuristic fan, the idea of having your own spaceship and having quests on the spaceship, that had not been done in a Call of Duty game. I mean,
it was a cool idea. I liked it.
Yeah. But the multiplayer, that kind of stuff all makes sense, and of course Call of Duty multiplayer has to be robust. It doesn't. That is what's going to continue long tail sales, obviously. But that's why I think Apex has done so well. I don't know why Titanfall didn't, because I thought Titanfall's maps were okay. I do have to say though, if I remember right, I'll have to go back and listen to my review. So the single player was short, very short, bro. That single player in Titanfall 2 was 3.5 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that could have hurt it. And then if I remember right, I did have an issue with a couple of the maps being pretty basic. So it could have been those combined with the hope that Battlefield was going to return everything to its rightful place, and so people chose Battlefield. But the thing is most people have more than $60. They really do. They say they don't. But if there's a good game, they'll find a way. You've done it. I've done it. Mm-hmm. I don't have $60, and then a good game comes out, and you're selling shit. You're here, you want a PS4 controller for $1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find a way.
So it's just I would love.
I just thought.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so we were just talking about the feud of boots on the ground versus running on walls and shit. Doesn't Titanfall have a lot of running on walls and that type of gameplay?
Right.
So
which is why I'm saying maybe that's why people didn't like Titanfall. That maybe that's because there's the demand. There's an instant dislike for that versus boots on the ground. So somebody like yourself hears Titanfall, short campaign but good, whatever. But then you're I'm going to check out multiplayer, and you hear everybody saying it's a lot like Call of Duty's parkour, and you, as a Call of Duty person, are that's not what I want. That's what I was saying. I do believe that could have caused people to be but then what I'm saying is, a week later you see Battlefield and you're uh-oh, this isn't as good as we all thought. Why didn't we get a bump? Where was the bump? Where was the
second? Yeah, it was a second win.
Yeah. Yeah, second wind, and EA would have figured out if there was the possibility of a second wind. But also, I would love to explore the background, because remember, that was the situation where the Call of Duty, I think it was it wasn't West, it was the other guy who ran the development company at that time, where he was on stage with the EA guy, and the EA guy was like trying to talk about why they're releasing the two games at the same time, and in the middle of the conversation, it might have been West, but he looked at him, he's like, whatever the fuck that means. And people in the crowd were like, what? Yeah, so that's like, imagine you run a business, and yeah, you should look it up, because it's on camera, and he like, the EA guy is like, we don't feel that these two are competing, blah, 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 blah. And the fucking developer looks at him and is like, he legit bad employees. And I don't mean that as in he's bad. I just mean he does what you don't want an employee to do. And he's just like, he looks at him straight up and he's like, whatever the fuck that means. And you're just like, oh. It was one of those fucking mic drop moments where you're like, something is happening internally. So... Wow. Did you ever hear the big rumor, too, was that they threw it out to kill it on purpose, so that something about buying Respawn or something? There was also the rumor that they wanted it to die, so it would lessen...
a desperate position, you mean?
Puts them in a desperate position or something, wow. Yeah. There's a lot about... Game of Sutra is probably where you're going to find some of this, because they're so big. They're such an amazing website, and I'm pretty sure they have all this. But yeah, you got to look up that thing. At minimum, there's a text version of the interview, but it is the guy. Now I want to look. It's Titan.
I think I found
Dev.
it.
Whatever. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is on Game. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
PC Gamer. EA's committed to Titanfall 2, but Respawn doesn't know what that means. To be more specific, Vince Zappella doesn't know what the fuck that means. And here's what it says. There's been much hand-wringing over whether EA should have released Titanfall 2 at the same time as the two other much bigger shooters, as the underdog between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Most armchair industry analysts think the move was stupid. I'm tempted to agree. Though EA defended itself last week, saying that Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1 appeal to different FPS fans. Nevertheless, analysts and early sales reports don't paint a pretty picture. Vince Zappella sounded off about the game's awkward position in an interview, and he says, he's asked all this, and yeah, he literally just says, Zappella deferred to the EA publicist in the interview, who repeated the phrase that the publisher was committed to the franchise, where the Respawn head responded and said, so, whatever the fuck that means.
Oh my god.
Did Zappella say this smiling and giving the publicist a jovial punch? No, he did not. The tone isn't specific exactly, but everybody's suspicions seem to be true.
Yikes.
It would be cool, because you're a Call of Duty person more than me. It'd be cool to have somebody who knows, like, I'm sure somebody's probably done this, but to like break it down now years later and go, where is everybody now, right? Successes and failures, and be like, was it a good plan? Who came out of it? Does it make sense that EA did it? And, did they get something out of this? But yeah, dude, some bad blood there. You can tell that's bad blood. You don't
like
imagine.
He was pissed before that.
He was pissed. Yeah, he was pissed. And what's funny is there's no filter. It's like, whatever the fuck that means. That's not even saying you're wrong. That's not saying we disagree. That's just like nebulous. Whatever the fuck that means. I love it. It's just smart ass attitude.
Anyway, that is all we've got for the H.A.M Radio Podcast this week. We hope all of you enjoyed. Do leave your feedback. We have some new segments and additions coming to the show that I announced on the Patreon. Don't worry, it's not getting like walled off from anyone, but it's just like we're waiting for episode 200 to announce some of that stuff, because we're feeling out what we want to do for that episode, because we're trying to get a guest on, and what can we do, because that's the thing, is we like went hard for episode 100. I kind of want to squash out. I know a lot of people were like, bring Noah back, bring Lone back, and just due to both their positions, we can't. And so that's kind of like an idea I've seen a couple people toss around for 200. But what I want to do is try to get a cool guest on and see if we can get out some announcements for the show that'll get people excited for the future from 200 and beyond. So I just want to make sure we're transparent about that and that no one's like caught completely off guard with it. But anyway, we really appreciate your support for that, or on that rather. And we're on episode 198, heading to 199 next week, and we hope to see all of you there. Peace out.